Update. We needed the money more than you needed a car, my dad said after secretly selling my vehicle to pay for his luxury resort day. I didn't argue, but when he returned, his perfect life was gone. Part 2. When you overspend on vacations and gifts for other people, I'm not giving you another cent. Mom's face twisted. Alex, don't be like that, she said. No, I cut her off. Figure it out yourselves. I turned and walked away, leaving them standing there. I didn't know what they were going to do, but I knew one thing for sure, their days of luxury were over. I didn't have to wait long for the explosion. At 6 a.m. sharp, I woke up to banging on my apartment door, not knocking, banging. I already knew who it was. I rolled out of bed, exhaled sharply, and opened the door. Mom and Dad were there. Dad pushed past me like he owned the place. Get dressed, we need to talk, he said. Mom followed, her arms crossed, her lips pressed into a tight line. Alex, this has gone far enough, she said. I rubbed my temples. You do realize it's barely morning, right? I asked. Oh, I'm sorry, Dad sneered. Sorry, are we inconveniencing you? His tone was sarcastic. Funny, I replied, because we just found out you're planning to abandon us. Mom sighed dramatically. You can't just cut your parents off, Alex, that's not how families work. I walked into the kitchen, poured myself a glass of water, and leaned against the counter. Families don't sell each other's property behind their backs either, but here we are, I said. Dad's face darkened. We needed that money, he said. My voice came out sharper than I intended, but I didn't care anymore. That wasn't just my way to get to work, you know. My boss gives out extra pay to workers who can help with deliveries. That car helped me make money. I let out a breath. You sold it like it was some useless junk sitting in the driveway. Dad rolled his eyes. Enough of this. We're fixing this now. You're not cutting us off. I tilted my head. And how exactly do you plan to stop me? I asked. We're family, Alex, Mom said, her voice soft, like she thought she could still manipulate me into backing down. And families take care of each other. You don't want to regret this later, do you? I laughed, shaking my head. No, but you might. Dad frowned. What does that mean? I reached for my phone and pulled up my banking app. Let's talk about this car you sold, I said. Mom and Dad exchanged a look. What about it? Dad asked, his tone suddenly cautious. I turned the screen toward them. You remember who made every single payment on it? There was silence. I paid every installment, every month, directly from my account, and I have all the records to prove it, I explained. Mom, Dad, you see, legally, the car was under your name, but financially, that car was mine. And since you sold my property without my consent, I smiled coldly, I can take you to court and get every cent back. Dad's nostrils flared. You wouldn't, he said. His fist slammed against the kitchen counter. You're being so selfish. We raised you, we fed you, we gave you a home, and this is how you repay us? I didn't flinch. You didn't raise me, I said calmly. You tolerated me until I was old enough to make money. Mom finally snapped out of her shock. Alex, please don't do this. You wouldn't really take your own parents to court, right? I shrugged. I don't know. You didn't really hesitate to steal from your own son, so I guess anything's possible. Dad's face turned bright red. You wouldn't actually take us to court, he said. I exhaled slowly, keeping my voice steady. Then give me my money back. There was silence. Mom shifted uncomfortably. Honey, we can't, she said. Why? I asked, but I already knew the answer. Dad clenched his jaw. Because the money is gone, he admitted. Of course, it was, thousands of dollars blown on a week of luxury. I shook my head, laughing under my breath. You are unbelievable. Dad stepped closer, his voice lowering. You will drop this nonsense and forget about the money. No, I said, matching his tone. You will either give me my money back, or I'll take you to court and let a judge decide. Dad opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Mom looked like she was about to cry. Alex, please, she said. We're your parents, I said coldly. Yeah, and you should have acted like it. I grabbed my keys and phone and walked toward the door. Where are you going? Mom called after me. To talk to a lawyer, I replied, and then I walked out. I thought that was the end of it, but I was wrong. That night, someone knocked on my door. I opened it, expecting Dad or Mom, but it was Uncle Roger, and he did not look happy. I didn't expect Uncle Roger to show up at my door that night, but when I opened it, there he was. His expression was stone cold serious. I leaned against the door frame. Let me guess, they sent you, I said. He let out a sharp breath. They did. I stepped aside. Might as well come in. Roger walked in, setting his expensive leather briefcase on my dining table, like we were about to negotiate a multi-million-dollar deal. He turned to me with that same authoritative look he always had at family gatherings, the one that said, I'm the responsible one, the voice of reason. Alex, he started, your father is a wreck. Your mother's been crying for hours. You really told them you'd sue? I didn't sit down. Yeah, I did, I replied. Roger rubbed his temples. Jesus, over a car? I scoffed. No, Roger, not over a car. Over the fact that they stole from me. Over the fact that I've paid their bills for years while they've spent money like drunken teenagers. Over the fact that they sold the one thing I actually own without so much as a phone call. He nodded slowly, like he expected that answer. Look, I get it, they crossed a line. But you know they don't have the money, right? I smirked. Then they can get jobs. Roger blinked, like the thought had never even crossed his mind. Alex, come on, your dad's in his 50s, your mom hasn't worked in years, he said. I shrugged. Sounds like a personal problem. Roger's expression was clearly frustrated. You're not being realistic. Oh, I'm being extremely realistic, I replied. Here's what's going to happen. They either find a way to pay me back, or I take them to court. And before you start lecturing me about family, just know that I have proof, every bank transaction, every payment I made, every single installment on that car. It was mine, no matter whose name was on the title. Roger let out a slow breath, rubbing the back of his neck. Roger sighed and set his briefcase on the table. Look, I know they screwed up, and I'm not asking you to forgive them. But this lawsuit will ruin them. He exhaled. I can cover half of what they owe you, but you need to drop the case. I leaned back, considering. And if I say no, then they lose everything? I smirked. Sounds fair to me. Roger's jaw tightened. You'd be telling them to fix their mess. Roger looked at me for a long moment, then finally spoke. You're right. That caught me off guard. Your dad has always been reckless with money, and your mom lets him get away with it. I've bailed him out more times than I can count, but this is bad. I crossed my arms. Then why are you still trying to get me to back down? I asked. Because this is your family, Alex, he replied. You take them to court, and that's it, no coming back from that. I tilted my head. Why would I want to come back to a family that steals from me? Roger exhaled sharply, shaking his head. You know your dad is desperate enough that he actually asked me for a loan. That made me laugh. Let me guess, you said no. Roger gave me a look. Of course I said no. I'm not throwing money into a black hole. I asked, then why should I? He didn't have an answer for that. I grabbed my phone from the counter and scrolled through my banking app, then turned the screen toward him. Every single payment, Roger, for 3 years, all from my account. He barely glanced at it before sighing. All right, I get it, you've got a case, he said. But what do you actually want? I leaned back against the counter. My money. And if they can't pay? Not my problem. Roger let out another deep breath, like he was carrying the weight of this whole situation on his shoulders. Alex, listen, he started, but I cut him off. No, Roger, you listen. They've used me my whole life. Every time. You can click on share and more to see if there is a part 3.